Hey, my name is Stan Evans, and today I'm going to talk to you about how we did this CalPAC billboard shoot. So the timeline on this shoot was super short. I found out about this shoot July 1st. I went by the HQ, checked out the bags, and they kind of gave me a loose brief, but basically were like, come up with a treatment and the idea for video and for photos, and we need it by next Monday, which was over the 4th of July weekend. So when people talk about like work-life balance, like I basically spent most of my 4th of July kind of just putting together this treatment of figuring out the specs for shooting, schedule, how to intertwine it with video, and make it all kind of seamless so we could do this type of like blur motion action that really actually still displayed the product very well. So normally for a campaign, people are doing and thinking about things months out. They have kind of plans and guidelines and creative direction and how things are going. Trying to go from concept to delivery within a month is really, really short. While it gave me a kind of wild scope of being able to like pick up different things and ideas, it was compressed because you have to think about every detail. And like what most people don't understand is trying to figure out how to show the product, show the color, show the SKUs, and then still be able to get dynamic action along with the models, the background, and tie it all together, and then go into post-production and churn it out really quickly within 2 weeks. Post-production on this was super compressed. We literally came from the shoot, selected it down to 45 images, and we had to turn out two 15-second cuts along with 6 to 8 second social cuts. We basically came in, rendered out the footage, had a first draft, worked into the night, all the next day, and basically had a first draft cut by the end of the day after the shoot at 5 o'clock. It's always a benefit to the client to make something feel bigger than what you maybe necessarily have as far as resources. So being able to kind of work as the photographer, director, and then kind of like work with creative direction with the client, but from my experience, be able to tie all those hats together seamlessly, that's where we're able to kind of like maybe have less manpower but more quality manpower. And so within that, having like my DP Jeff, who actually served as the editor, because he was shooting, he's able to actually go ahead and quick out first draft really quickly because he can see all the stuff that he shot. And then being able to talk directly to me and see what we're doing as far as like catching stuff on digital capture, making sure that it aligns with the video shots, and putting out the final output as far as retouching and the final edit, making sure that things look similar together. And so while you might have all these different hats, it really kind of was very concise because we had great people working extra hard to get across all shots and get the schedule done and get assets. Working as the photographer and the director, you have to create a very seamless treatment that basically answers the questions across stills and motion. And so working throughout those different plays, the client's mind doesn't necessarily actually see the way that, photographer or director's imagination works. I'll have to draw a lot of inspiration from things like Pinterest or use things like Frame.io to like grab little screen grabs and paint a complete, concise picture for the client so they can see exactly what they're going to get and keep a concise theme. On the shoot, it was very short windows, and so within that we couldn't necessarily go through the traditional casting process. Luckily, from my experience of shooting, I had some really great relationships with past models from all ethnicities and walks of life that not only were great looking but also had great dynamicism as far as like equate sport and show a wide variation of humanity across the spectrum. That was being able to work with these people in test shoots or other previous shoots and just having those kind of relationships. So a lot of these things in trying to make a shoot successful in the long term, it's just building quality relationships with people that you work with over time. As we look at the state of advertising in the industry now, I think people have kind of lost a little bit of value in looking at what procedure takes for taking quality photos. I think people have a lot of tools at their disposal as far as AI, or just people have learned a lot of different tricks and ideas to make things look really, really great through editing or visualization or just like CGI and things like that. But a shoot like this was really special because a lot of the stuff was done in camera, a lot of it was done on the set, a lot of it was using really people, and it's actually communicating across the photo team, the video team, the models, and the client. And these shots were hard. They're super difficult. You're mixing continuous light with strobes. You're trying to show product, and you're trying to have your models hit a mark all at the same time. So like getting all those things to converge at once, like it might take like maybe like 5-10 minutes to get a shot work because you're dropping light ratios or you're bringing up light or you need someone to move a certain way. And so all these things, I think people need to understand there's a quality to this, and it's almost like a delicate dance in choreography, and it's math and science along with art. So that's where I really want to like bring things back to having a appreciation for photography and the photography team and the directing to create a finished product that people like look at a billboard and see and be like, oh man, that caught my eye. I think a lot of things that people don't really talk about is the personal lives of photographers. I think a lot of people, like even at this age and as long as I've been doing this, people are like, is that a real job or is that a full-time job or do you do that? Like, I've been doing this for a long time and it's something that's really passionate to me, but I think people don't really see the struggles that photographers have as trying to create a work-life balance. Again, like on this shoot, I got the brief the 2nd of July, so I basically cut off my 4th of July and worked all weekend to like come up with a treatment due Monday to be able to get to them and get the job awarded and approved. During the middle of the shoot, my mom actually had an accident and fell downstairs and broke her leg in 3 places. So I had to like kind of balance that as far as like family and trying to figure out like, do I go home? Do I postpone? Do I try and figure out what's going on? As far as like getting her the proper health care that she needed to do, right? And so also within then, it's the beauty of this job. It does allow me to do amazing things. And after we wrapped and finished, I ended up going to Portugal with my longtime girlfriend and got engaged. But all at the same time, I'm planning that. So in the midst of the shoot, so she can't find out about what I've got planned down the road for this thing. So I think people need to really think about photographers more as people, and they actually have other things going on in their life, and give them a little bit of grace as far as figuring out like, hey, you know, like maybe not someone's going to be on demand, on call, or available 24/7. Like, you know, like you need to give those people their time, because also it's a refreshing, like people have to come up and like, they need to come back from that well to be able to produce art, to produce creativity, because once you've kind of given up that well on a project like that, you have to kind of like regenerate that again and find that excitement for the next thing, and that takes time. And so I just think that's something that when we talk about photographers and what they're going through in their lives, that these are real people and it is real life.